think it's 7 o'clock. Should we? Right, let's make a start. So we're all here. We're all here. Well, as far as we know, as you say, unless we have several members of the public coming. So welcome everybody to the planning committee. The committee, and particularly our one representative of the public here. I'm going to ask if we can suspend standing orders so that Mr. Foxton can speak to us first as normal, but then we will go through the housekeeping items on the agenda and then bring item number 149 forward so that you don't have to sit through the rest of it. Are everybody in favour of that? Thank you. Okay. Over to you. 3 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll be brief. So I'm here to ask the council's support for working with Kirklees Highways to install double yellow lines at the junction between Court Lane and Woodhead Road, and also a reduction in the speed limit on what I would call very dangerous roads in the middle of Binchcliffe Mill. And the reason that's come about is obviously the last time I was here I was explaining about the new development that's taking place in Binchcliffe Mill. That's now obviously, since I was last here, been granted planning permission. So now there's going to be another 60 car spaces worth of traffic in this particular location. And I'm hoping that Rich kind of circulated the document that I prepared just to kind of give you some idea if you don't know the area. But the key aspect to this is it's uphill. You're on the wrong side of the road because there's traffic on the direction of travel, and you get to the top, you can't see what's coming. You have to pull out halfway across the junction to actually see what's coming before you can actually join Woodhead Road. That's bad enough as it is currently, but obviously as a result of the extra traffic we're going to get as a result of the development, as a kind of local community kind of concerns. And the existing yellow lines that are there, you don't know when you're supposed to be there and when you're not. But actually it really needs to be double yellows rather than single yellows, because, you know, no matter what time of day, you still can't see. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, really. I don't really have any much more to add than what the report identifies and goes into a lot of detail. Don't know if anybody's got any kind of queries or questions.
Right, Councillor Hockley and then Councillor Green.
Yeah, I think absolutely something needs to be thought about by highways to cope with the fact that there's additional traffic coming on there. I guess I've always wondered what residents' views would be of there being effectively a one-way circuit. So, you know, when you come out opposite the Londoners, you go, because I must admit, whenever I drive down there, I never go up to the bit opposite the Londoners and pull out because of exactly what you described. I always go left. You've got a much wider visibility.
I've never thought about it, but yeah.
In my head, it feels as if potentially doing a one-way approach. I appreciate, obviously, for some people they find that irritating because you get used to it, but it's actually a very small one-way system.
Yeah, it's not very far.
And it feels like that might be a way of still retaining the quantity of parking that is on those roads, given that parking is at a premium. I know ideally we get rid of all of the cars, but the reality is people put somewhere to park. I just wonder if that might be an option for safety. So I guess I would suggest that maybe that's given as something for the highways. I think we should certainly I'd encourage us to support this approach of addressing something, but I think we should be open to solutions which might include something like a one-way.
I think we're straying into discussing now. Sorry, so that's fine. We'll come back to that.
I thought I'd seen somewhere about that bit of road being made 20 miles an hour.
That was what I was mentioning about reducing the speed. Yeah.
So that's kind of the pipeline anyway, is it?
Not that I'm aware of on that particular stretch. No, there's
It's
another.
desirable, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, there's another. I think further down towards, is it Elm Bridge, but not in that particular location.
Any more questions? Will we get on with it?
Well, the other question, you've mentioned about the single yellow lines. There should be a notice on the lamppost setting the times out.
Yes.
As I said in the report, they're all so badly weathered that there's no times on them anymore. Because, you know, they've been there 20 years when there was half as many cars on the road. You know, now obviously what happens is, you know, old ladies, men, living by themselves, depart this world, it's a great start at home, 2 people move in, 2 cars, where there were none, and everywhere there's cars. So it's dramatically changed in the time I've lived there, in terms of just how many on-street car parking vehicles there are, and it just didn't fit for purpose anymore as it used to be.
Thank you. I think we'll go back to the agenda and we'll come back to this item and decide what we're going to do with it. Right, so item 135, which is recording the meeting. Do any of the members of the public present want to do any additional recording? No? Thank you. Right. To accept apologies for absence, so we've got apologies from Councillor Paul Dixon, Councillor Tom Dixon and Councillor Andy Wilson. Are we happy to accept the reasons for their apologies?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Right, item 137, members and officers' personal and disclosable pecuniary interest in items on the agenda. Anybody got anything to
No.
declare?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
You've got a couple.
One
Thank
for
you.
mine and 150.
Actually, I suppose, Chair, I would declare a personal interest in number 4, because my children are at home for time. Oh, and number 8.
Number 4, right.
And
Oh,
number 8.
there's several of those, yes.
Yeah.
And number 9. Right.
But it's only
Thank you.
personal.
Right. Item 139. Do we wish to discuss any items on the agenda in private session? And to suggest, because it's still not fully in the public domain, that item 1473, which is the Haygouch Road intersection, is discussed in private session. Can you vote on that? You happy to accept that? Thank you. Right. Right, and confirm the minutes of the previous meeting. Can we confirm the minutes? Thank you. We're happy with that. Right. So we can now move on to right. Yeah, I should have said, so we're back onto your item. I should have said thank you at the beginning for the documentation that you sent us, particularly the maps and the photographs, and they do show very clearly the kind of one nature of those little yellow signs, don't they? Right. Do any members of the committee have any further observations? So I think we've already decided that it would be a good idea to consider some kind of more sweeping change to the road layout. So to creating a one-way system, possibly. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to just present an answer, it might not be the answer, but I think we should write to Kirklees Highways. Can we close that letter?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
yeah.
Say, you know, we heard from local residents who's concerned, and we share the concerns about the safety of the roads. And I think we would support, well, I propose that we support the introduction of A 20-mile-an-hour speed limit on that area, and B, a consideration of a solution to reduce to improve safety and reduce congestion in the end as well, isn't it? By either adopting what's proposed here or considering perhaps a one-way circuit. I've forgotten the name of what is the road that does the
The
dive?
steep one's caught, really.
Yeah, what's the one that does the dive?
Old Road.
Old Road.
Yeah.
So if we could cite those roads, because personally I would have thought you go up Old Road and you come down Corot Lane, which would still mean people who are going to the vineyard or beyond can come down and go through.
Yeah.
So I just think it's something we should ask them to look at.
Yeah. And that junction is difficult as well, because obviously all the traffic's going to come out of the access road on Water Street and meet at that junction that you're talking about where it comes down. So
So stop people turning up. I just think we need to sort of describe it, so perhaps Deputy Clerk can help with that, because I know it's familiar to people.
I don't think that suggestion kind of preempts the three proposals that you've made, really. I would have thought that extending the double yellow lines both sides of Court, Court Lane, and changing them to double. Sorry, on the 20 mile an hour speed limit, I mean, I think we have as a parish council, we are trying whatever we can do to try and get 20 mile per hour limits within village centres. We're trying to push forward on various fronts, so certainly that chimes in with our thinking.
I mean, this particular area, you know, there's no pavement and it's a rural school route for the kids getting to school, so they have to walk in the road past all the parked cars while the traffic's coming up and down, and obviously now because there's going to be more traffic, that's a bit of an issue, hence why I'm suggesting that, you know, we have a slower limit. Or other traffic calming measures that highways think is appropriate.
Yeah.
Don't really mind, you know, it's just a suggestion as to what I think.
And I was going to say, in the short term, can't our highways to replace or repair the no waiting signs?
Yeah.
On those.
Yes.
And enforce them.
And
That's the
enforce
other issue,
them.
isn't it?
Quick ask.
The only downside to that is they do that and think, right, job done.
Well, I don't think they will, because
You know.
we're asking for two things. I mean, in relation to the signs on the lampposts, they're neglecting the duty by allowing them to be in disrepair, so they should do that. And then the other issues to do 20 mile an hour on one way or whatever, a separate issue.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant more to do with if we're replacing a single yellow line with limited parking with a double yellow line, then obviously they'd have to change it again, wouldn't they?
Well, they would, but I would suggest it's probably going to be quite a long
Sure.
time down the line before you get your double line. Yeah. Whereas
The writing will have faded again before.
if you say it's going to be maybe 12 months, I don't know, before you got your double yellow lines,
Yeah, right.
we can't allow, or we shouldn't be allowing it to be in the state it is in that for those 12 months.
Yeah, I understand.
I just wondered, have you approached the Pomeroy South Kirklees councillors as well in this?
Explain
Sorry,
how that
the Kirklees
South
council.
Ward. did you
Yeah,
say?
Pomeroy
Right.
South is the name of the ward.
Yeah, yeah,
yes, yeah.
No,
Have you-
I will be doing.
You will be doing,
I
yes,
will be doing,
yeah.
yeah.
I was going to suggest it would be a good idea to
Yeah.
do that. Actually, the
Absolutely.
more routes you take, the better.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
So.
And Jason McCartney's quite big on those
Yes,
stations.
Jason,
Oh, actually,
yes, he's got to be in his bonnet about it as well, so it's worth contacting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly 20
More
mile.
support, the better.
Yes, certainly 20 mile an hour limit, and I mean the documentation you've got, I mean, it speaks for itself really. So yeah, so
Okay.
excellent.
I'll
Yeah.
do that. Yes.
Thank you. Has anybody, any councillors, anything else they want to say? No. So we will take up your suggestions
Thank
and
you.
push an additional one with Kirklees Highways. So
Right.
thank you, and
Thank
thanks
you
for
very
your
much for your
dogged persistence in keeping going.
Well, you know, do what you can, don't you? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Right, on to item 141, which is completed Kirklees planning applications list. Can we note that list?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, noted. Right, on to new planning applications. This is the fewest I've known in 4 years or so. I assume it's Christmas.
It's only a few weeks since the last one.
It is only 4 weeks, and I was surprised that the last lot was quite lengthy, but I guess it's just the Christmas that can be the long. What was the video like? Right.
It's only 3 weeks.
Yeah, so it's not going to be so many, right? Okay, so number one is a schools one. I thought this was there was a similar application approved in February 21. Some amended plans. Our comment last time was to support, and I feel inclined to support it this time. Happy to support?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, unfortunately, Andy was going to send some comments, but he hasn't been able to. So number 2, it's Lip Hill Bank Road, at Buckathon. I thought this was. Are you?
Yeah, I've had a look at it. I think it's fine. It's a bit of a funny house really, because it's tucked right out the way.
Well, I thought whatever they do,
right round back.
yeah,
So it's-
wouldn't have much effect on the neighbours anyway. There's nothing
Can't
actually.
upset anybody then.
No, well, no, it's no really. It's a house there.
There's nothing really objectionable. So okay, support.
Yes, should a house be listed if nobody can see it?
Oh, that's do you exist? It's like Schrodinger's cat thing, isn't it? All right, now the next one is massive. I just
Well, it's discharging
Feel-
conditions, isn't it, anyway?
pleased to see that this is actually trundling on through its processes. So this is discharge of conditions, so we don't normally make an observation. So we're happy to refer to.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Which will be over them in no time. Right, we have got
Oh,
some.
don't say that. Jo.
No, it's tentative. We have got some weighty stuff afterwards. Right, the certificate of lawfulness.
We don't
This
do that
is-
either,
we don't-
usually, do we?
This is some type. So this is the this is to do with the MUGO. I've been pronouncing the multi-use games thing. Rachel's declared an interest in this, so there's also items 8 and 9 related to this. However, as we take this one on its merits, it seemed to me a very minor change, and it's to facilitate wheelchair access from the main entrance to the MUGA. So I think
Is
happy to
Cross Street
support
just green concrete, painted green?
no, it's
No, I think
it's
it's a
concrete
mess.
with concrete with holes in it. I think so that the vegetation can grow up through the holes, and it can also support the weight of vehicles.
Yeah.
But it'll allow drainage, won't it?
And that too, yeah. Can we support this?
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
thank you. I don't know why there's kind of a strange order here. But the next one should have been, well, it's a full stone one, and it's.
Which one are you talking about?
Number 5.
Right.
Number 5, which is a full stone, and it's a big. It seems to be a big change, but the changes look interesting, and I couldn't see there's any obvious impact on neighbours. Did you?
I think that, yeah, I'd look at it. I think we welcome the fact that they're putting in solar panels. There's quite a lot of glass, which is okay.
You don't have.
But the sidewall, the only thing I wanted, one of the visuals showed like a whopping great grey sidewall, which seems to be on the sort of junction of the lane. So I just thought that was a bit unsightly. I don't know whether I think it had some sort of facing on it. Was it zinc facing or something? I mean, they're quite a motley assortment of houses up that end of Horn Lane because they're beyond the conservation area and a bit around the church. So I'm not averse to they're quite a modern design, but I just wondered about the scale of the sign.
Should we
So I just wondered if
support
we
with draw attention to
Yeah.
the concerns
Say,
about? Yeah.
appearance from.
Is that the view from the
I'm
road?
trying to think if it's from the west or the east. Well, it's as you drive up Horn Lane, I think that's the wall that will face you. That's how I interpreted the plan. It just seems to be a very, I don't know, just
A lot of
being
wall.
very, yes. Just on the visuals, it just looked like you'd be like, oh, massive wall.
Is it a retaining wall?
I don't know.
Right.
Yes, you'd assume there is a reason
Yeah.
for not having windows in it or anything that.
Because it was on the top of the corner, so I don't think it was on the bottom of the corner. So I don't think it was about overlooking. I think it was, I don't know. It just there was something about it that just like, oh, that's a bit.
Right. Number 6 is a discharge of condition, which change from hairdressing to 1 flat and installation of roof lights. So again, discharge of condition, no comment.
Yeah, this is the one about Sid's Cafe.
Oh,
Used to be a
yes.
hairdresser's, and they're turning it into residential, but there was an issue about whether it was suitably insulated from the noise around it, of having a cafe downstairs, etc. But there seems to be some reports that say the noise is fine.
I was going to say, it's probably quite noisy living there during the day anyway.
Right, number 7, there was a previous approval in not long ago, 2022. They have sought pre-application advice this time. They thought that two dwellings was overdevelopment that before, and it's got big windows and there's no climate mitigation statement. I know they pulled it down from 2 to 1. I don't know if anybody else
Yeah,
have a look at this.
I looked at it as well. On the plus side, I thought there were good references to the neighbourhood development plan. Lots of consideration in there.
Yes.
You know, they did a really
They're
thorough.
sucking up to us.
They were, but it was a very thorough report that went through the different considerations and how it can be seen or not. The only thing I wondered about was whether it's difficult because those houses sort of on the road that it's on, they're again quite a newish assortment of houses behind what's quite a historic main road, Woodhead Road. I just wondered if it was a bit overbearing because it's supposed to be 3 stories, and particularly because of the big glass centre. I must admit, I didn't like that big glass centre. I know I have a thing against turning houses into greenhouses, but I just thought that didn't fit with the local vernacular, to be honest. I would have no issues if they were like floor to ceiling windows and then there was a bit of stone and then there were floor to ceiling windows, because it's just several floors of, I just didn't think that was in keeping with the local area.
I have to say, so 2010s.
Shall we say
And
that-
also environmental measures.
Yeah,
as you say.
shall we,
Yeah,
could we say that we support in principle the erection of one dwelling, but we draw attention to the design which may be overbearing.
Yeah, I think we can reference the glass though.
Okay,
With the
not in the vernacular.
with the large glass frontage not being in keeping.
It doesn't have to be in the vernacular, it has to sit happily
Yeah,
alongside it.
Yes.
It's going to be a modern house, but it
Yes.
just,
But we've got concerns about the design, and
the principle's okay.
the principle's okay. But also, no, there was no, I think,
No eco.
no
Yeah.
climate mitigation statement.
Because it's the loss of the garden.
Is it going to be triple glazed, this?
Don't know.
It was a very fussy design. I didn't particularly like.
Well, I think it's because they said we've done mullion windows to fit with the
Well,
design, and you think
yes.
that's nice, but then you've done a whopping great.
And the whopping great big thing in the middle. Yeah.
And what
It just-
cutesy those mullions and then...
Yeah,
And then a monster.
so it's just a bit of a
Monster
hybrid
glass in the
design.
middle.
I think go full
Okay.
or
Well, yes, I was going to say that.
whereas the one on Horn Lane that we were just talking about before, that went proper on. That's
Yeah.
box.
But at least they pulled the number down from 2 to 1, so, and evidently the Kirklees planners are happy with that. Number 8 is the high school again, in Muga, and this is a discharge of conditions, so this is a no comment. I am so pleased to see movement on this. This has been in the pipeline for years and years.
What, the school?
Yeah, the multi-games, multi-surface, it's been so long and it's been held back by various things, so just really pleased. Variation of condition, number 9, variation of conditions. Again, it's the high school artificial grass pitch. Yeah, I did have obviously Rachel's can't speak, but I did have a look at this, and it looked to me as though it looked okay to me, because the changes are results that the car park that was originally proposed next to the shops is now not going to be built, so they've had to have a rethink. So it's going to be a grassy slope, I think. So it also removes a large ramp, so it sounds as though actually these changes would be an improvement. So I would like to support, try to support this.
Fine by me.
Fine by you. Thank you. And then we have a certificate of lawfulness in the green belt. Rachel.
Yeah, to be honest, I was minded to leave this to these to decide because I'm always a bit unclear with certificates of lawfulness because there seems to be an awful lot of evidence for the fact it had been used as a domestic garden over there. Lots of Google Earth images of, you know, from, I can't remember how far back, but it went back over beyond 10 years, which showed trampolines and things in the area. So they've given quite a strong case, and I wouldn't like to say that that's not strong enough to legally school the fact it's using that base. So, but I mean, it is in the, as you say, it's in the green belt, but then there is a tipping point, isn't there, where if you use something for long enough, then it becomes.
Yes, yes.
So I'd rather leave it to get this.
Okay,
It's
so
a technical
happy
thing.
to do that. So we take the curiosity been okay. Yeah. No observation. Yes.
Another conservatory bites the
Another
dust.
We're going fast.
Mr.
aren't
Smith
we? Yeah.
now selling garden room.
We had an application not very long ago really, and it took me a while to work out how this application related to the previous one. We have supported the previous one, but I think this is work at the back of the house, whereas primarily the one I had last time was work at the front of the house. It looked okay to me, but it was quite complex, and I couldn't really work out what was happening where. So my inclination was to defer to Kirklees officers, unless anybody
I
else
think
has a
that's-
strong view.
I'm happy to do that. The only thing I'd noted, I thought it was okay if the materials were in keeping. I wasn't sure if they were, but I'm happy to leave it to Kirklees. It's in a conservation area as well, so
It is,
I'll have
yeah.
a thorough look at it from that point of view.
No, I think that's it, isn't it?
That's
Unless
it.
I've done right tricks, sometimes I can see one off the end. Right, gosh, that was quick as state, I think. Right, so Kirklees Council Planning Officers' decisions, there were two disagreements. I thought they were quite interesting really. The house on Penistone Road, this was another, it's a bit like the one we've just been talking about the use of land as a garden, and it just, very complex. We thought it was fine, and Kirklees said no, but so. And the other one was on Banksville, which is where the plans were amended after we'd looked at them, and the plans were amended in line with our comments, so I think it's so much to learn there. Right, so we move on to item 144, which is a planning.
No, sorry.
Sorry.
I was just thinking it's quite interesting that the clamping site was turned down, which is what we'd observed anyway. But as I was just thinking, it's good to see that the the one that was Retreat Now and Beauty, that we sort of were in one mind.
Yeah.
Kirklees as to that not turning into residential in the middle of the town. I just thought that was quite.
That was really good.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's nice to see that.
indeed, that was excellent.
But there's certain ones that you think, oh, we're on the same page. it's encouraging.
I'd be very worried if we were always on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there should
I
be a bit of
think
tension.
yes.
But,
Yeah, broadly, if we have anything, that's probably a good thing rather than a bad thing. Right, Lidgett Chapel, or the former Sunday school. We originally, when it came to us originally, we supported this. It was to change the Sunday school into selling small, I don't know, crafty type items, small pieces of distressed upcycled furniture and so on, and there was some remodelling of the access, remodelling of the rather nice looking gates. Kirklees turned it down. I think it seemed the reason for turning it down was because it was kind of outside the main shopping areas. And there's something called the sequential test, which I was trying to work my way through and couldn't quite. The applicants were asked to look at other possible premises which might work. And there seemed to be a feeling from Kirklees officers that the applicants hadn't actually done what it was suggested that they should do. So because it's gone to an appeal. So our decision is to decide whether or not we want to submit a comment to a planning appeal. Our existing comment will have gone, which was support, just simply support, will have gone to the appeal. So
unless we want to say something different this time, I don't see any point in making an additional comment. We supported it. We continue to support it. I assume. I mean, you might not, but
I've got no qualms about just retaining the same position as support. I mean, I can see Kirklees' point of view, and yes, it would be nice if they filled a vacant unit in the middle of a already shopping area, but that's a bit like sort of saying, well, you can't do that to your house, you can do it to a different house over here. So, I think we should stick with our decision.
yes. So we've agreed that we're not going to make any further representation because we don't want to change it, and we don't want to change our original decision. So. Good. Right. Item 145, reviewing parish outcomes. The deputy clerk's report.
Yeah, we've got, yes, we've got a nice email from Ellen Bauer. She said, many thanks for your warm welcome email and sincere apologies for not getting back to us. I'll be very happy to have a conversation with you and run through the matters you have raised in more details. This is about sort of sharing information on the conservation areas, basically. So she said, I'm very pleased to hear of an increasing local interest on heritage design matters, and I look forward to fostering a good working relationship with the Parish Council going forward. If you can let me know a convenient time, I will give you a call. So that's her calling me. I don't know how you want to play that.
Well, I think it would be a good idea. We seem to be into meeting Kirklees officers now. I think it would be a good idea to organise a meeting.
Okay.
Could you come to a planning meeting?
You can ask. Yeah.
Could you come to a planning meeting and talk on specific issues?
So it's I don't have to stick it, try and get another meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah,
half an hour at the beginning.
half an hour
Half an hour at the beginning of the
Mm-hmm.
meeting. Yeah. And if she can't do, Mondays are no good for her, then obviously we can rethink, can't we? Maybe touch it to something else.
It'd be good for her to appreciate as well that I like to phrase the implication was it's a new interest in conservation. There'll be plenty of members of the Enfield Conservation Group who would push back on the fact that it's a new interest because they've been lobbying for years to get a conservation area appraisal and like that. So, but it's really positive that she wants to meet.
I mean, it was a really good letter that I'm not surprised it's a good response, but Richard's letter to Helen, it was a good one, so it's really good. Right. So, do we, just moving further down that item, do we want to consider any further action to promote public awareness, or shall we? I mean, have you got more to share on that?
No, not really. No,
Are you running out now?
No, it's not running out. I just do less of it because it's just repeating the same information. It seems a bit. I don't want to bore people by just
you
repeating.
don't want it every month.
Yeah, so I'm just spacing
When
out
something
a bit.
crops up in a council discussion that relates to a conservation area, it's, you can send it again and say, this happened and people thought this and this was agreed. Here's another, here, just to remind you, this is the conservation area. When you do,
Just ask Richard to continue doing what he's doing.
I was just going to say, after the meeting that we've had with the officer, then
Yes.
it'd be nice to report that there's been a meeting and not necessarily listing out the actions, but, you know, even if it's a commitment to having a better relationship with these officers about how we can improve awareness of conservation areas. So it'd be quite nice to have something
Yes.
that looks, well, not looks, is.
It's,
Looks and is.
it's progress, it's
Yeah.
concrete and it's progress.
Because I think lots of people are.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I mean to feel quite positive as those things.
Is
you know.
it, sorry to throw something else in. Is it worth, I know you've covered lots of things, Rich, in your lecture already, is it worth maybe sending her a few questions in
Any
advance?
questions of the things that we might want to.
So even
talk
things
about,
like, you know, the latest on conservation area appraisals being done, and I think it would be
Yeah, I think
worthwhile
so,
when she
yeah.
comes, she can at least answer some of those things.
Yes, and it would give a structure, wouldn't it, rather than a general talk about conservation in Kirkby, so people
I mean, one of
formulate
these
few
days,
questions.
and I don't know how we would organise this, and it could be in a meeting with her or just one first. I would love to see a presentation by a really modern architect with examples of startling architecture that has been approved in, say, the Lake District or, you know, the Pepper Peaks or whatever that, you know, and him to talk about vernacular and getting on and reflecting and, you know, all that. You know me and my thing about pastiche weavers' cottages. You and your glass, and me and my pastiche weavers' cottages. And I really love, but I don't know any architects. I don't know whether anybody does. I mean, I used to know somebody who did exactly that. He specialised in getting planning permission in the Lake District for things like joining a barn to a cottage with a glass passage and stuff like that, you know. But I lost touch with him.
There's a really good document, the Peak District National Park Authority, their document about sort of repurposing or building. It's really
An encouraging, exciting new
Yes, I
architecture,
thought that was
rather than stifling it, but making sure it's good. No, I don't have the skills to know really. I mean, I can tell horrible, but you know. But I think
you're horrible might not be somebody
No.
else's.
Yeah, it's subjective, isn't it?
it's
We all like different
very
buildings.
subjective.
Yeah.
I'd love to see some sort of. Does anybody know any architects? None of us.
No,
Yes. Yeah. Well, I know some who
Would-
from in other
would
parts of the
they
country,
know-
but I know one or two.
Would they know somebody who knows a lot about getting modern stuff
But that's
through?
more of a discussion down
down.
up rather
Yeah,
than what we discussed with the officer.
I think
I think if the
Yeah.
Peak District have some examples of what they consider to be best practice, that would be worth.
It's definitely
knowing
worth.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if an architect does come to speak to us, it shouldn't be somebody from one of the firms that we're constantly getting applications.
No, ideally it'd be from another area, at the same, the
Yeah.
Lake District or
But
the
it's
Cotswolds,
certainly
somewhere
somewhere,
beautiful
yeah.
and all the Cotswolds even.
Because we should always be up for learning.
But I think we need to be careful at the meeting we have with the officers about
Oh, it's not,
educating
yes,
people
no.
about
Yeah.
conservation areas and how we can
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
everything. So we just need to make sure it's.
But maybe if we build a good relationship with her, it
Yeah,
might
yeah.
be that in the future.
Sure, we can find you some online seminars.
Yes.
Online.
Okay, can we move on to Lord's Mill, which, yes, meter report.
As we expected.
As we
They're going
expect,
to
as
put
we
a fence
expected.
around and leave it a bit,
Yeah.
because they haven't got any money.
Yes, that we reported that at the last meeting. So I've so I have spoken to the member of the public who raised this issue in the first place at some length, and she was, as we might expect, disappointed really at the outcome. She did particularly want to thank Rich for his persistence in trying to get a response and make sure that I said that to you. Right. So she has agreed, as it was suggested in the letter from Sebastian Pickles, she's agreed to keep having a look at Lord's Mill to see how it's going on. She also suggested, and she's kind of laid down a challenge for us really, she also suggested that maybe the ward councillors, parish ward councillors could keep an eye on. I think it's Sean. I think Sean is do you know, Pat, is it Sean?
I can't remember. I can't remember where the boundaries. I don't know where my
I
own
think
boundaries
it is.
are.
I looked it up today. I'm pretty sure it probably is, isn't it?
Yes,
I'm
south
Only
and
Western, he's Sean East, yes.
I'm south and central, aren't I?
You're central,
Yes.
central and east.
Central and east.
The challenge was really that maybe this could be a role for parish councillors. I thought this is something that's worth picking up, perhaps not necessarily now, but from the new council from May onwards. There's no reason why we shouldn't start now. That ward councillors could have a kind of responsibility. Should, yeah. To look at any listed buildings in their wards which look as though they're falling into disrepute. And it is quite easy. I did have a go. It's quite easy to find out which because there's a map, the national map. You can find out what so it'd be quite a good introduction for new councillors to go around and go around them all.
Can you forward us that link?
I can.
Yeah.
Yes, so I think you see, nobody's going to accuse us of mission creep with this. I think this really could be.
Oh.
I think this I think this could be a good it could be a good thing really for all councillors too.
I think it's what new ward councillors should get that requirement, but also go and look at all their benches, because that's what
As well,
I
yes.
do.
Yeah.
We looked at benches when I was a new councillor. We haven't looked at them since, I think, because there was one. I looked at them all. And there was one I couldn't find.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's the thing. You find some shelters, and people should.
We did an audit when I was quite a new councillor. I think. I mean, it'll be certainly 3 years.
Yes, we probably do need to audit the benches. I think is that one for service provision?
Yeah,
Is that enough for service provision?
I just think it's a good opportunity when the new council comes
Yes.
to say, look, it's
To
a really
walk
good
the
way to get to know
boundaries.
the ward as well, because it does make you get to know the ward.
Right. Okay. Anything more to say about Lord's Mill? So I thought, I mean, disappointing outcome, but I think perhaps we, perhaps we're getting somewhere. Is it just only West?
We're always getting somewhere.
Thank you.
Nothing positive.
Right. Number 3, traffic calming, 20-mile-an-hour zones and limits. First of all, can we note Councillor Hogley's comment on the consultation on the proposed hub for traffic regulation order and the response? I think it was. I thought there was something positive towards the end of the response. I don't think anything's going to change at this point, but possibly in the future. Possibly in the future, things might change. Right. Last Thursday there had a meeting with Home Valley South. Well, 2 of the Home Valley South Ward councils to discuss traffic and highways related issues. I wouldn't. I mean, I think it was a good idea to meet. So I'm not sure that a great deal actually came out of the meeting. But it was a good, it was a good exchange of views, and I think it was maybe it was good for the Kirklees Council, one of whom is also parish council, of course, to learn about what the parish, what the parish does, and the work that we've done on various road issues. And we've had a really, I just sent a thank you email, and we've had a really positive response from Councillor Crook about the meeting. and expressing an interest in making meetings regular. And I don't think they don't necessarily need to be confined to road and highways issues, but upland issues. I think it could be over the whole of the area of responsibility. So I think that's right, and it I believe it's certainly the first time that we've met in a kind of more formal way. Kirklees Hull Valley South councillors in the 4 years I've been on, and Tom has been on a longer, so he couldn't think of any. But
I can.
You
It
can.
wasn't a pleasant experience.
It wasn't right.
No, it was regarding the public toilets when we created the retail unit and it was a very difficult, challenging experience for all those involved, and I think it's very positive that you had a good constructive meeting, and I think that's what I think you should build on that, because I think even if it's a meeting that the chair and vice chair attend every 3 months or something to have a bit of an update and canter through what the parish council's involved in. So I think those relationships really need to be strong, particularly in
Well, we
light
could do it
of.
with both the Hull Valley North people as well.
But I think particularly in light of lots of investment coming into Home Firth and lots of change, I think keeping those lines of communication positive would be really good. Because I think in the past there's been quite a lot of tension between them.
I would say
There are certainly parish councils who see Kirklees as the sworn enemy.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So they need to be done in a constructive light, which is about sharing where we can work together and agree that there are some things we may disagree.
I mean, I thought it was a pleasant.
Yeah, it was.
Pleasant enough meeting. I was surrounded by males. I was the only female. Did you think it was? Did you think the tone of the meeting was quite? So lots of exchange of ideas and things to build on. And I thought they were quite open really in their reporting about the road, the various road issues. So certainly something to repeat. Okay, move on. We wrote to our MP, and he replied very quickly. And apparently, although I certainly wasn't aware of this, that he is attempting to organise a visit to the parish council. So,
Well, I'm a little, I mean, it's not that long since we were really enraged by him. I can remember a meeting in Hayledge Bandroom where he'd described us somewhere as being political and not doing anything for the community, and we were all really incensed and decided we'd bombard him with publicity. Every time we did anything, we'd let him know. Clearly it's worked.
yes, I mean, we represent geographically, quite a large part of his constituency. So yes, you should be interested. So I assume that's the ball's in his court really about Yeah, he was at pains to stress that it couldn't be on from a Monday to a Thursday because he's required.
Except in recess.
Except in recess. Except in recess, yes. So yeah.
And again, that's just really positive.
Yeah.
It was very positive. I was pleased to see it.
Well, I mean, shall I reply and say we would be in, not in a kind of let's make a date kind of thing.
Yeah.
Shall I just say?
We look forward to meeting.
Welcome anytime. He's a resident of the Hull Valley after all, so
Yes.
So shall I say?
I think I may be his counsellor.
Really?
Oh, that's something to do. Yeah, that's quite good.
I'm probably in lives in Southgate. I think I'm his counsellor.
I think yes. Just
Well,
to
yeah,
line
yeah.
and saying we would be happy to meet at his convenience. So, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, sort of nudge, if you end up talking to his office manager or diary secretary, somebody nudge them towards a Monday in the recess rather than another night during term time.
Good, right. Move on to number 4 here. Parish council action seems to have been floating around a long time. Actually, it's the neighbourhood development plan. I first started this. So we've got to note that Rich posted Rachel's article on the neighbourhood plan to the Parish Council. Can we note that? Yep. And then at the full council, 6th of February, the full council is going to be presented with the 51 actions of the neighbourhood development plan and the progress against it. I think it fell off the end of the very long agenda, and I was ill, wasn't
You got
it?
bumped off.
We got bumped off. Well, I guess it's hardly urgent, I suppose. So I don't think I would suggest no further action at this point until it's been to the.
The only thing I'll just throw in as just for interest is that I've been contacted by a councillor from Murfield who's wanting to know how we did our neighbourhood development plan. Previously I've been contacted a while back now from someone from Saddleworth. So it's interesting, we are kind of leaders in this geographical area, which is quite
that's excellent.
it's quite good. Okay. So, and also, can I just start on the posts that we put on? I haven't looked at them, if I'm honest. Did we get any comments or? No.
I'd have to have a look.
We presumably didn't have anything.
No, there was
negative.
certainly nothing negative. No.
That's good. I mean, we don't need positive messages. I was just making sure there wasn't some sort of, oh, it's all pointless.
No.
It'll cost us money now.
Indeed, but it sounds like it.
Right, item 146, Peak District National Park Authority. So can we note the list of updated use committee one, and then and to note again, which has already been informed by email, that after the May election, when we have a new set of councillors, some may wish to put themselves forward for ballot for selection as a member of the Peak District National Park for the High Peak and Metropolitan. I was wondering whether Andy might be interested.
I'm sure you can
I'll
solve
bet
that.
he is. Yes, I'll be very surprised if he isn't.
Mind
Mind you, Trevor might be as well. If Trevor's starting again.
So we just need to, no doubt that will come back up on the agenda, won't it, when we get to that point. Okie dokie. Moving on, ongoing highways campaigns. Right, speeding and noise pollution on Woodhead Road.
Yes, we have had an email. Yes. At last. Yes.
So like, we need a party bopper.
So she didn't know where Home Bank was, so I sort of sent her a map of where it was, and she sent us the figures they've got. So she said the current information tells us that there is an average daily flow on this road of 1,404 vehicles, and of those vehicles, 85% are travelling at or below 31.9 miles per hour, with the average speed being calculated at 26.8 miles per hour. These results are very similar to the 2018 count, which was a bit further down the road towards Home Bridge, where the daily flow was higher, 1686, and 85% travelling at or below 32.4, so slightly faster, and the average speed 26.4, so slightly less. So none of it seemed particularly.
Is that kind of normal and acceptable then?
I guess so.
It's only just a set of figures, isn't it? Is that good or bad?
Yes.
She didn't put any gloss on them.
No, she doesn't.
No.
No.
So she's kind of saying that's something that wouldn't warrant any further action.
Yes, that's
Yes.
what it sounds like.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But that's not the noise thing, is it?
No, that's just the.
Well, they don't have anything to do with noise. This is the trouble. It's
Noise is to do with the grading of the road, isn't it?
What's noise environmental services?
I mean, I don't think there is a legal thing for it to be considered full stop.
Oh, right.
I don't think. I mean, don't quote me on this. I mean, obviously you're in a better position than me on this, but I don't think it's part of.
Right.
the discussions. They're only thinking of speed and
Highways aren't
and
bothered about
safety.
noise. Environmental services will be bothered about noise probably,
But it would have to be a lot louder.
it would
than
have to,
a
yeah, I was going to say,
road,
it would have to be
this is
something
the
pretty
difficulty.
spectacular for them to intervene.
But it's when, I think the main issue is in the summer, though, isn't it, when you get on motorbikes?
Well,
Yeah.
when you've got your,
Signs-
when you've got your
signs-
windows open, that's the
Yeah, they're all
problem
very
with
careful
summer.
now.
It's
But
almost-
in winter, if you've got double glazing, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Almost anybody can hurtle past. But in summer, when you want
It's
to
sun-
open it,
But it's sunny weekends, and you can hear them on the Greenfoot Road. You can hear them on there.
But I don't know what you can do. I mean, motorbikes are noisy, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can make them all noise.
Yes, but they don't want them if
I
they're
don't
noisy.
think
It's
it's-
like Formula One. They made it quiet, and I liked it because you could hear the tyres squealing on the telly, and all the fans made them put the noise back in.
I don't think it's anything as a parish council. Unless any of the residents want to apply for triple glazing.
Dear Formula One,
I would agree to that application, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's gone very, I mean, in terms of residents, at one time they were quite forthcoming really, and that
She left,
They've been worn down. They've been worn down by the
the
process.
main campaigners left.
I think so, yeah.
So I've not heard more. So,
Which one can't say about the campaigners in Langdale.
so do we wish to do anything, or we just accept those figures? Thank goodness at last we've got
Yeah, we thank Police for
thank
providing us with that
you for providing
information
that information
and know that there's not much the council can do at this
No,
moment in time. I suggest.
I would agree with
And
that.
can I move it off the list then?
Yes,
Yes.
move it on. Yes, please move it on. Yes, thank goodness.
You've got to tick something off the list.
No,
Hopefully you'll bring it back next summer.
Campaign,
Next summer, no.
yeah, when it gets noisy, perhaps the windows are open.
Yeah.
Campaign for a safer Magdale, are we still waiting?
We are, yeah.
Deputy Clerk?
Yeah, I contacted
Okay,
the
there's
campaign and
lots of
they
business. Okay,
haven't heard anything either.
right.
They're never going to be happy because unless Kirklees is prepared to ban everybody and not allow residents who live there to have a wardrobe delivered, the leaders of the campaign are never going to be happy. I mean, you know, delivery vans have to go through. Now, the lorries that are going to the building at Netherton, because you know there's the huge development, they don't have to go through. But I don't know how many are. They get photographed, everyone.
I imagine anyone that goes through once wouldn't do it again because it's
Exactly.
impossible to drive
Really?
through
That's
there
right.
without having to give way at some point.
That's
And I
right.
wouldn't
They
drive
won't
if
save
did
any
that.
time. The driver won't want to do it, even if the boss is saying that's a shorter route. The driver's not going to do it. And the issue isn't speed along there. It's narrowness and the sheer volume. There are people who do use it as a wrap room, but in cars you can't in a larger vehicle.
I think it's one of those roads that's probably got worse as people use sat-navs, because
Yes,
sat-navs direct you down
that's
roads like
yes.
that you wouldn't know existed.
I mean, there is. It seemed to me. I mean, I sound like Rachel on the other one that they could make part of it one way. There's the bit that goes from Woodhead Road over the little bridge, and then at the point where there's that junction, is that sandbed or where is it? They could make that one way. Now it'd be inconvenient for the residents, but they could make it one way, and it would stop people going through as a shortcut and mean that only people who live there, you know, a lot fewer people would
I
use
think
it.
there's a problem with doing the turn at the bottom. You always have to do a 3-point turn at the bottom.
Yeah, but if you did it that way round, you wouldn't ever have to do a 3-point turn. If you were coming from Honley
Yeah.
and you went left up there and back up, you can
Oh,
do
I see,
that.
yeah.
I mean, and it's going to be two-way to get to Woodhead Road beyond that, but at that bit you could have a one-way going
Yeah, you can-
anti-clockwise.
Yeah, fair enough. Although they don't have any night now, because everybody.
I mean, nothing is going to be good. Nothing is going to be, and you might increase the traffic. You might increase the traffic for the people at the back. To the benefit of the people.
That's
at the
good.
front.
I don't think there's anything practical we can do.
No, I think, shall we
Leave
move
it
on? Right, Burnley Road closure. We did talk about this only around Thursday. Any more actions? I suggest not at this point. Things do seem to be shifting, don't they, slightly, I thought.
on the ground.
Well, it's so hard to tell, isn't it?
It's
Because
hard
we
to
basically
tell.
take it on trust. They're telling us that things are happening, but
Yeah.
they can't tell us
They
because
can't tell
of
us what,
legal
they can't tell us
yada
what it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
which is imperfect, isn't it? But anyway.
It's a bit like my tax returns are perfectly sound, there's nothing to be said about them. Okay.
Right, so, Holford blueprints, again,
Ramsden Road.
oh sorry, Mr Ramsden Road, right,
Not as
any
early.
further action at this time?
We have
No,
no update
alright.
on it.
No, right. Holford blueprint, again, nice to be consulted in an email saying, you know, something about.
What's she doing? Do we know?
I don't know, I just feel really sad.
No, she's really
sad
good.
that she's
Yeah,
going, so, and she wanted, she initiated the meeting this email that she wanted to catch up, so it was difficult to find a time that, you know, obviously must. Did you say that you couldn't make?
No, I can.
You
I
can,
can
that's
make it
good.
for now. Yeah.
Excellent, right. Yeah, so, I think, I don't think we need to prepare any agenda for that. I think that she'll comment on as well where we've got to, so.
Do you know who's able to attend?
Well,
I assumed,
no, I don't.
since it's a home
I mean, it's
fair,
home first, it's just about
It's
home
home,
first.
yeah.
that,
Are you?
if you are
Yeah, I
going to
think
be,
so.
Yeah, okay, well, that's probably, maybe there's Tom will probably won't be able to. Right.
Report back anyway.
You can do it on, yes. Moving on, number 149 is Hinchcliffe Mill access concerns, which we've done, and then we've got, we're still in Hinchcliffe Mill, 5G maths.
Hinchliff Mill. Hinchliff Mill.
Yes. Choose this thing. Right, so, Rachel Centre, roadside, I'd say, a strongly worded response, this is a pre-application, not the planning application. I'm kind of wondering whether, given that Rachel's made a very comprehensive response, if it would be not a good use of our time to respond to the pre-application, but wait until an application appears, if it's going to appear. I don't know, what do you?
and when you get proper detail or something to.
Do you want me to mention why?
Yes, I do, yes. Yeah. Oh, I printed it.
Because basically because it's a 20 metre high post that's effectively pretty much opposite the exit of the road that we were talking about, that gentleman, kind of old road. And I highlight, basically in my response, I just highlighted the fact that A, it's in a conservation area, because it's actually, I checked the boundaries, definitely within the conservation area. B, it's the network, the naming development plan talks about the character of the area and the local vernacular and the importance of things being in keeping, including the street scene, and frankly a 20 metre modern looking structure which towers above everything else is not really in keeping with that street scene. And then I highlighted the fact that it's an area that attracts people and visitors to enjoy the local environment, and therefore this would detract from that. And also that in other areas of like national parks, the more imaginative designs are considered, including making use of existing high buildings, and I pointed out the Bottoms Mill chimney and the Hinchcliffe Mill, Homeridge Church, both of which are fairly high. There are actually other structures that are really high, and I felt more imaginative solution could be sought. And also, to be honest, I think the other thing I mentioned was the fact that you could use the sides of the valley, because my understanding is it's about having a line of sight to the top of the mast. And actually, if you're in a valley, you put masts on the side, but when you look at them from afar, you don't really notice them because the hillside behind them. Whereas sticking it right in the middle of the valley, it very much affects the visual impact. So, but I don't know whether, I mean, obviously I just replied as me.
Yeah.
I just wonder if our planning committee ought to say that we're concerned about the visual impact in an area of conservation. He doesn't need to go into the detail that I did, but I don't know. Because I don't know what happened to that one in Waldale, because there was one going to be near the school bus stop, wasn't there?
Yes,
I don't know
yes.
what's happened to that.
But that wasn't, that was 4G, not 5, this is 5G. I mean, this is going to get done before, maybe 4G has come and gone, and we're already, we went from 3 to 5 without building any 4.
But I wonder whether that one's been sort of delayed. I mean, it feels like there are solutions
Well, we
for
could, yeah,
conservation.
well, they seem to go for what would be the cheapest
Yeah.
solution for them, isn't it, with easy access
Yeah.
from the main road, and too much thought into how you might do this. Yeah, in a sympathetic way. We could do a short response saying, but we passed. You didn't get a response, did you, to your
No,
requests
no.
because the
It's up to Rich's
the
house.
closing date has come and gone, hasn't it, for comments for.
Well, I think they said
But we
within
can-
14 days, didn't they, which we've just been,
We could say that, yeah, a one line response really, that we regret the.
or maybe a couple of lines.
Well, we could lift lots of Rachel's, couldn't we?
Well, that might not be the best idea.
No, we don't know. I mean in a way
We
that
could
isn't
just say-
recognisable.
Well, I think we can just say we're concerned about, we discussed it at our planning committee, you know, we're sorry for the slight delay, but we want to discuss it at planning committee, and we have serious concerns about the implementation of such a large structure in the heart of a conservation area in our rural valley, and the impact it will have on our surrounding heritage and environment.
Yeah.
Spot on, yeah.
Did you get that?
It's all on there.
And we make further representations
Yeah, we'll-
if it comes through as a planning application. Yeah, which you may never do, but we'll see.
It's just important we put that.
Yes, I think you're right.
So would that
Yeah.
normally come through as a planning application if it's coming
Yeah.
ahead?
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened last time. We had a
Yeah.
pre, and then the application came through. So, what notice is taken of these pre ones is difficult to say, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, presumably it shapes, at least when they put in an application, you would expect them then to address the fact that it's in a conservation area and what they thought about design, and at least show that they thought about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise they
Yeah.
wouldn't bother with the pre-application, would they?
I really like your. I really like your email, Rachel.
I'm glad, no.
Yes. I'm glad it's not sent that to me. Just.
I was feeling decisive.
Right, moving on, 151 planning policy and guidance. This is a rather strange thing, I think. I was sent this document. I think because I did some I must have done some online training. I think it's just I've gotten to some list or other. I mean it's jolly good, but I mean a lot of the stuff that comes from NALC, it just seems kind of remote, really. It seems really remote, and I can't.
I don't even think, I emailed them,
Oh right,
the two
yeah.
of them,
Yeah.
just because
Yeah.
like you, I was a bit
Yes.
bemused
What's
by it.
this?
And he rang me up very quickly, the chap who'd written it.
Right, yeah.
So it's not actually under the auspices of anything as far as I can see. He's somebody who's basically writing this, writing this guidance, and is going to share it to the NALC website and the SLCC website, but essentially not as an official.
Is it just a piece of personal? Is it personal
It
issue?
seemed similar. It seemed like that. Yeah,
Right.
it did.
So now has to do it or not?
Well, it's the NALC, as you can see, it's NALC who forwarded the email, but and that they are kind of doing something together, but it didn't strike me that it was an official NALC documentation.
I suppose it may be once it's.
It may be
because
one
this
day.
is a draft, isn't
Can
it?
I just, I mean, I was struck by the fact that really it was just a very convoluted version of what we were trying to do with our climate emergency action plan a while ago. So I just think
I
we
didn't,
should, so can we not reply to it and say, well, we've already thought of all these things.
Yeah,
We're-
sure.
And you might find it interesting to review our
Have
climate
a look
emergency
at
action
ours.
plan.
yes.
Because I think lots of the issues
Yeah.
that I've just sort of already raised.
I mean, that's what he's doing, just asking for feedback on his draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think maybe.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's good.
I mean, there were some. I don't. I mean, it seemed quite disjointed as well. At least I found it was quite an old document altogether. But yeah, I think that's a good idea. Actually, to look at our climate emergency action plan, and also our look at our NDP as well.
I
Something
thought-
about.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just have one more thing. It was just, the only thing I did think was quite interesting actually and useful was the bit right at the end where it has Appendix C, which is local councils' powers and opportunities around climate change. And it had all our statutes,
Oh, yeah,
and that would be useful. I thought that thing was really useful, and I did think that would be useful to share with
The new
well,
committee,
existing climate emergency committee, and then when it becomes the
whatever it's called
action
now.
communications committee. Because it's quite useful to remind us what powers we have. Because I think, because again, that's one of those things which when you start as it consciously you can see in the council guide or whatever, but we tend to forget them.
I think this. Well, I think you really alluded to this earlier, Rachel. I think this parish council is a lot further on than many other councils, wasn't it? Because of the leadership that you gave it. There were some things I picked up. There was a suggestion that we, the parish council, should register community benefits with Kirklees Council as the planning authority from section 106. What we would like to see section 106 money spent on. I thought that wasn't a bad idea, really. And then there was also about the H-bus, the buses that were subsidised, that maybe, we're giving them a lot of money, we could suggest they have electric vehicles, and that we could perhaps, require some, as a result of our money. I think perhaps we could do that. So there is the odd thing in it, but I mean it's rather, it is disjointed, and I sometimes think some part of NALC stuff seems a bit amateurish sometimes.
Am I feeding that back to them?
No, you're not feeling that.
Thank you for your amateur efforts.
This goes viral.
And disjointed.
When we go viral on YouTube, Mary, you're in trouble.
I think some judicious editing might be. There was another thing about about an emergency plan template that should have been sent to the parish council at some point, so we ought to have an emergency plan, so maybe again that's something else that we at some point might pick up. Right. So how do we want to progress? We've got we've got a response to crimes, haven't we?
There's things to think, because you always ask for his feedback, and you've given him some positive feedback and said some things were good, and I won't mention the other bit.
No, don't mention it. Don't mention the other bits. Thank you. All right, let's move on. Footpaths and rights of way. Oh, I like this one. Nothing to note. Is there anybody? Anybody want to break the spell? Remaining committee budget. So we have to note that there's one budget line which is 4505 neighbourhood plan, and there's 3,000 earmarked for home folk market. And to note that we will presumably go to the 6th of February this request, to earmark the remaining 7,000 for projects and initiatives for traffic calming in 20 miles.
Did you have I did wonder whether you had a snappy title for it as a budget.
No.
Okay.
Something that'll fit in the spreadsheet, Mary.
Road safety.
Road safety measures.
Yeah, and just on that,
Are we going to get flack about mission creep on that?
Oh, probably.
Oh yeah, probably.
Oh, probably, but it's all right. We.
Oh, I did have,
We'll write it down.
I forgot to say about the email to Liz
Oh, I was just gonna.
Twitch is
I
now
was
called
going to say that. But
Q6.
yeah, you can say it, but I've got it circled. So
Oh, have you?
you've maybe got bigger print than me there. Yeah.
So she said, on the list of, because I asked her for the list, I asked her for the price list that she'd mentioned in the past. And she said, on the list of costs, I've held off with this information because we are in the process of updating all our costs because of the inflationary increases and material costs. And things are altering so quickly that we have been waiting for some sort of stable period so we can be as accurate as possible. If it is SIDs you are specifically interested in, then we would need you to speak to your local ward councillors as it is their programme. Some localities we are aware that parish councils are providing funding, but it is via local ward councillors who need to agree and sign off on locations.
No, so
Well, we
just
did-
give us any cost or anything.
So that's the Kirklees work.
Yeah.
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 We did talk. We did
Well, that's
speak.
another grounds for us
Yeah.
to build,
We
improve
did.
our
Yeah.
Yes,
working relationship with them.
We
And
did.
we got some money you can spend, but
exactly.
we want to know what you're spending it on.
We did, we said exactly that. When we met last Thursday,
Yeah.
we mentioned this, or I mentioned the 7K, and yeah, yeah. And I guess SIDs must be speed indicator devices.
Yes, yes.
So they seem quite interested
Yeah.
in that. It's cost of it. So yeah.
It's a bit disappointing we haven't been given any indicative prices for.
Right, how long is it since you first asked? It's just anyway.
5 years.
Give us ballpark figure.
Yeah.
It's cost in the region of 5,000 to 10,000 pounds.
We're waiting for the prices to settle. They're not going to settle for 10 years.
They're not going to sell any lower, are they?
Yeah.
Keep going.
That's right. That's right.
It's never going
It's
to.
not going to be less than you think it is
Yeah.
now. You can just tell us what it is now and that you expect it to go up.
So obviously we need to communicate with our Kirklees Ward councillors because they need to agree and sign off the locations for these seats. So
Yeah.
but it felt quite, I must say, it felt quite good to say to actually offer something really. So, yeah. Right. Is that okay, Rich?
Yeah. Publicising the work. You're going to report on the metrics, yes? Oh yeah. I did a bigger report of this for Pubs and Comms. I looked
Did you
at.
just do it for us?
No, I did it for Pubs and Comms to see if there were any kind of trends and things to learn from. And part of the reason with planning was I was a bit peeved that with planning applications I would get like 1 like or 2 likes or 3 likes. But that was quite interesting because even though I was only getting 3 likes for the post about planning applications, the actual engagements, as you can see, is 1.6 thousand. I don't suppose you're going to like a list of planning applications, are you? That's what that says. So I was quite pleased. I was quite pleased with the amount of engagement. Actually, it was quite surprising. So, as I said, so an engagement means people actually looked at the planning applications list. The reach thing is that they basically the thing appeared in their feed, so they might not have even looked at it. So that's not. But then I think the other things that are quite interesting is that when we're posting about things like the TRO in Home for Earth and about the blueprint, people are genuinely bothered. Like they were the highest scoring of any post over the entire year for various metrics. The 2,000 engagement on the blueprint and the comments on the TRO. So I think there's things to be said for those kind of ones. And then, as you know, the first 2 conservation area ones got engagements of a total of 1,700 for 2 of them. So I just thought it was interesting seeing what people had engaged with and what they hadn't, to be honest. So.
No, it's really,
It
it is really interesting.
There's so many hundred people interested in looking at it, and it's worth
Yeah.
getting that out, isn't it?
Yes.
And I imagine some, I don't know, but I imagine some people look at it, the planning applications and just quickly skim it and go, no, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing in the
Nothing near me.
Nothing near me, exactly, so why would they click like?
Yeah.
But I think it's really good that we get that information out.
yeah, I think.
Yes, because the old stuff on lampposts has gone.
I think we should outreach for this.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
we should
Yes.
start with outreach for all,
Yes,
for all
it's
this,
really good.
because it's something, you know, that's come from nothing, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's
I guess
just
so,
you
yeah.
started it, so, yeah, well, so, yeah, we are trying, aren't we? We are trying to reach out, so, yeah, so thank you. Right, okay, is there anything else not to publicise at the moment, or wait until? Right, thank you.